Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana. And we're here today with special guest, Dr. Efrat Shokef, who's here to share with us raising spiritually aligned children. Are there universal foundations that allow children to stay rooted in their inner wisdom, no matter what is happening in the world around them? Today's guest is here to share with us just that and her new book, UniverSoul Promises, Foundations for Creating the Conditions Our Children Need to Thrive in Times of Transformation. Dr. Efrat Shokef holds a PhD in social organizational psychology, is a Fulbright alumni, and the author of the Silver Nautilus Award-winning book, The Promise We Made. Dr. Shokef guides parents in parenting from their essence, choosing, healing, and becoming the humans their children chose to come to. So welcome to the show, Dr. Efrat Shokef.
Hey, Marianne, I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my goodness, what an honor it is to have you here again. I have to tell you, I read this book and absolutely love it. There's so many nuggets of wisdom in here I think people can use on their life, and especially parents. But I thought it really is something that helps people maybe understand their journey a little bit more.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful reflection. Thank you.
So what inspired you to write this book?
It wasn't so much about what inspired me to write this book. It was a very clear download. You've read my first book, The Promise We Made, 3 Universal Soul Promises We Made to Our Children. And in my first book, I shared my own personal journey of a car crash and a near-death experience when my 3 daughters were babies. And the quest to the essence of motherhood it sent me on, and it was a journey that weaved in looking for the essence of motherhood. What would define me as their mother, although I was not doing any of the caretaking, more absent than present, together with the luminous dimensions that opened up in my near-death experience and the understanding that I'm on a journey, but wait, if I'm on a journey, then so is everybody else, including my daughters. If I am love and I carry that sense of being love in myself, then so is everybody else, including my daughters. And what does that mean for our shared journey? And when I guide parents of spiritually aware children, highly sensitive children, new earth children, that is the type of people I work with, type of families, it's always a very quick shifting mindset from looking at our journeys as our own journeys, the wounding we need to take care of, how we heal, how we change, a lot of survival mode, to more expanded paradigms of thinking, of seeing and embracing our journey with our children as a shared journey, which means there is no hierarchy in the invitations we offer each other, but a shared journey of growth. Along this journey, through the first 3 promises came down, and I shared them in The Promise We Made. These are soul promises that are, to my understanding and my maybe vision of humanity, every human, regardless of where they are around the globe, their circumstances or their choices in lifestyle, as souls, as beings, make as part of our shared journey. Essentially, it's a promise that we will do everything we can to stay true to our essence and to create the conditions that others around us, and definitely our children, which are our most amazing, incredible co-creation as humans, need for them to fulfill their journey not just as humans, but as spiritual beings in a human body, embodying the whole that we are. And the 6 additional universal promises, which I share, the Universal Promises book takes the 3 first one in The Promise We Made and adds 6 additional soul promises, universal shared soul promises, into a coherent roadmap They just came as a download, and they were sitting, they were sitting in my notebook. And every time I opened a new journal, I copied them to the front page. I made sure I would have them, but I did nothing with them. And after the promise we made was burst, I was just guided to sit down, and the book will be ready in a specific date. I I didn't see how that was happening, but actually it did, because when we listen and we trust, and we've talked about this before, things just happen. And I think when I look at it as a complete gift, because it's, for me, it's a gift that came through me, and I'm very honored to be part of it in offering it to the world. Um, in a way, it's an answer or a reflection of what we can look at when we explore raising children. Children are our future. But the thing is, with everything going on in the world, I think that's even clearer than before. We have no idea how their future is going to look like. So we have some spiritual visions and prophecies that guide us. But when we look at our now as parents, and we ask, what type of teachings do I need to offer my child? What tools do they need to have? What would help them as adults in years to come in raising their own children? We truly have no idea. And I think that brings us back to the essence of who we are. And to my understanding, in my perspective of how I see parenting and relationship, especially with those children that offer us greater awareness and higher consciousness as spiritually aware children, they chose us for our potential. And as they chose us for our potential, the only way we can create the conditions that they need are by walking our potential. And that means coming back to who we are in essence, coming back to the promises, soul promises we made to ourselves, which often starts by focusing on what makes our heart sparkle and what makes our eyes shine and what makes us happy, but really being who we are, and trying to cleanse the noise, which is unavoidable because we are living in a very noisy world. But to some extent, all of us, to some extent, some more, some less, can cleanse a lot of the noise around us and return to our center. And as we return to our center and become the beautiful beings we are, and everyone, each and every walking human on earth has that potential of awakening that beauty, that love, that luminosity that shines from within, then we become the potential our children chose us for. Then we create the conditions they need. We are centered in the now, and they will have what they need for this unknown future we are walking towards. So I think these are all understandings that came to me while I was downloading and writing the book in my words. It's not a channeled book. It's in my words, because I want to stand behind what I share as ideas, as exercises in my stories and tools. So maybe a bit of a long answer to your question.
There are no long answers, and I appreciate you taking the time to share that. And what I so love and appreciate about the perspective that you bring is that we look at children from the soul level. And I think in many ways that had in some part been lost over the centuries. Why do you think approaching children from these highly evolved soul beings, how does that perspective help us to be better parents?
I think that in modern times, and especially in more westernized cultures, we lost a sense of who we are. I think that's true for children and adults alike. And anytime we raise our perspective, we, instead of looking at what literally happened and say, oh, he said that, she said that, we look at, okay, what emotions it evoked, what thoughts it evoked. And emotions and thoughts are often a gateway for us to see the limiting beliefs, the wounding that we carry or carry for our family. And then if we take it a step above and we expand it into the soul's journey, then we can see what's taking place maybe as an opportunity to evolve, an opportunity to heal, an opportunity to become. So I think that's true, not just for children, but to all souls, all humans. As soon as we expand the perspective of looking at the very little literal things that happen within our days from a greater perspective, we let go of the drama and we let go of the do's and don'ts, and we let go of checklists of a child must go through this and these and that stages in order to become a good human. And we focus on what our child needs. And as we walk a greater journey together, then how we perceive things, how we approach our kids, the mutual respect, the embrace of love, we prioritize it. We give it more room. And it's there's so many families that run through their days, and it's about another after school activity and during homework and being part of a sports team or being part of some social environment. And there's so many things, depending again on where you are in the world, that a child must go through, and we don't give them time to be children, and we don't give them time to explore. But then look at so many adults that are reawakening to their spirituality, finding themselves again, finding what makes them happy. They go back to nature like kids know how to. They laugh. They take the time to just be. All those things kids reflect to us as they come. And while there are more and more, and it's magnificent, and for me, it's filling me with so much gratitude to see so many beings that offer high frequency born as children, evolved souls that offer us those high frequencies that are and it's enough to have one person with high frequency in a room to affect everybody else and to raise everyone's frequency in the environment. So each such child, it's amazing to see them, truly amazing to see them. But if we as adults won't give them the conditions to stay with those high frequencies, but ask them to adjust to how society works, and everything we hear about what's happening in the world is because society is not optimally working. That's saying it delicately. So they need us to be who we are, and they need us to and being who we are is connecting to who we are at the soul level, and then connecting with them, both as little children who need that need boundaries and need to learn how to function as a human. That's what they choose parents for. Human guides to how on human guides on how to be a human in whatever culture, environment, surroundings they chose to be born to for whatever reasons. They need us to be aligned. The only way they can stay aligned is that if we are aligned. So as parents open up not to how to help a child sleep, what foods are good or not good, potty training, and all the when you take all those little acts and just take that deep breath and observe them with the umbrella of guiding a human, of someone on how to be a human, you prioritize different experiences, you prioritize different reactions. You take responsibility as an adult, because it's not just parents, it's also significant many adults who are teachers, aunts and uncles, grandparents, walking around children and often offering in that that luminous reflection much more than the parents who are occupied in survival. Each of us that takes that step and reflects it and raises a frequency and invites a shared journey, helps another child to stay true, and hopefully they come with enormous gifts. But if these gifts will not be used for the good, they will be used in negative ways. And we have examples like this around the world. Very powerful, potentially very good human beings that could have grown up differently and served the world instead of exploiting it. So I guess it's just a change from a mindset to perspective to how we walk life. And that makes a big difference in how we raise children.
So, how can parents make this shift from what society is always telling us, well, you need to do this or you need to do that, to really embracing their inner knowing and their truth and their divine essence?
So, as parents, I think it starts with questioning. And I in the UniverSoul Promises, Foundations for Creating the Conditions Our Children Need to Thrive in Times of Transformation book, I focused on questioning for quite a few pages at the beginning, because I think the first step is understanding that nothing is given. Nothing is given. And then every little act, every little choice, everything should be questioned. Does my child need to go to sleep at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 7:15 p.m.? Because we each come with some perspective. Do children need to eat vegetables? Do they need to eat fruit? Is it okay that they sit in front of a computer or have a phone or not have a phone? For one child, devices would be okay at the age of 5. For another child, devices won't be good even at 18. It depends on who the child is, who the family is, what the personal journey is about, and what is the shared journey about. So once we start questioning, we will often still embody and embrace the same answers our parents chose to raise us by. But it will be because of a choice. And we might be part of a specific community and really want to homeschool, but decide to send our child to that daycare because that's where all the kids are going to be part of a community center or something, because we want them to be part of. But that needs to be questioned. And a choice that we are making in awareness of observing who our child is, why we're making that choice. And also know that a choice and a decision can always be changed. In many cultures, and again, the degree of what I'm going to say differs in different places, but we are taught, our power is taken away from us. And I think the best example is when a child falls down or a child has a fever. A lot of mothers know what to do. A lot of fathers know what to do. And they know if their child, their inner knowing can guide them if they need to go to the doctor, they don't need to go to the doctor. But the automatic action is you need to take the child to a doctor because the physician knows best. This is true to so many fields of our lives. Everything has a do's and this you should do, this you shouldn't do. We need to take back our power. Part of the healing of individual healing, family healing, and social healing is by individuals taking back their power. And as we question, we take back our power. As we question, make conscious choices. And again, those conscious choices may very well be the same decisions we would have made without questioning. But once we question, we allow things to surface into awareness. And another thing happens when we allow things to surface into awareness. We start unweaving. Awareness is the first step in any healing process. So as things come up and we become aware and we agree to see and know and look into our own eyes of what needs to take place and what we believe and what we don't believe and what we might want to change, things start to shift merely by us agreeing to be seeing and knowing. So questioning is the first step for parents. And then some parents and some families need to go into deeper healing, to weave in spirituality. I really invite people to shift that mindset, which is very easy to say, oh, okay, I'm on a shared journey, and just start observing what their kids are asking from them. When are their kids happy? When are they happy? And to know that they can make tough decisions. I will give the example of our homeschooling decision. Our girls were in school, in a school that is considered very good around here, but they were not happy. As an understatement, they were not happy. It wasn't the right environment for them. We were thinking about homeschooling for a while. And then that decision came in, and it felt like the hardest decision. And the reflection we received from our community was that it is a very brave decision. But if I look at it in retrospect, it was a decision made based on listening to what is going on and not being afraid to be different. And it's the best decision we've made. So, and it's not because I'm braver than others. It's just because we as a family question. We question everything. And we decide what is right for us. And we will consider others. We don't want to hurt anybody's feeling, but we focus on what's best for us. And when you make a precise decision, small one or big one, it's always right for others. If you have a meeting and you sense that you need to cancel it, that other side may be really mad at you, but it's actually precise for them as well. If you don't show up somewhere, that's precise also. If you're late, you're just arrived at divine timing. So when we become attentive and we listen and we trust the guidance that is walking with everyone, all you have to do is listen. That works in parenting as well. Parents know what's right for their children. Parents have the power and the abilities and the wisdom to guide their children. A child chooses a parent. They have a reason. They have a sole reason for choosing that specific parent. And sometimes those choices are about resolution of healing, of relationships, about family healing, about lessons that confused parents can give you, and because you will need them at some point in your life. But all children have around them adults that can guide them if these adults, us, will trust ourselves and do the work that we need to do.
And that's the big part, is doing the work. And I know your book is noted as the roadmap for parenting. Is that with children at any age?
Yes, it's with children at any age. And I've received reflections that also for adults trying to figure out where things went wrong for them. The 9 promises invite a journey from embodying our physical body to earth. If an adult, a teenager or an adult is not, their physical body is not embodied to earth in connection with Mother Earth, then manifesting and walking life here becomes harder. And it's easier as a child. It's possible to anchor back into earth at any age. And then as we embrace our connection with Mother Earth, and we're invited to embrace our connection with other humans and seeing other humans as equal, all humans, and children have that ability and invite us adults to do that. Then we're invited as part of this roadmap to focus on healing. And this is where it's not just a focus on what we can offer our children. It's also the journey that we parents walk ourselves in parallel and together with our children as we raise them. And the healing part is a lot about the responsibility of us adults, healing our family lines, owning our power. Many spiritually aware individuals come with a mission to heal their whole family lines. Any healing we take is always more than just about us. It always ripples to our families, to our communities, and to Mother Earth herself. And a mom, a father, a grandparents, that it takes those steps into deeper soul healing. That healing ripples down to their children, to their grandchildren. It often goes 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. If there is an individual in the families that has to do things their own way, then they won't take the healing in. But at the soul level, when somebody heals, most souls just embrace it and take it within. So it's never too late. It's never too late for someone to make those shifts and to change and to heal deep wounding that are often not ours, but come from earlier generations, from other lifetimes, from the collective. So as we go, we anchor to earth, we embrace humanity, we heal everything that needs to be healing. And that's a tough stage, but a very, very important and needed one. We can open up to embracing the journey, embracing the more that we are, opening up to possibilities. And truly, that's when magic happens. As I, this book is this type of magic. It just happened. It had its moment. It needed to be placed down. And I found myself writing it, complaining here that I don't have the time and there's no chance it's going to be ready on the date it asked for. And it was burst on the date it asked for. So, and everything just managed to happen because it was precise. And it was from opening to the possibilities. And as we open to possibilities, we are invited with the last promises to nurture and open up to an innate creative form of all humans. It's a gift that all humans have. And it's a base for co-creating with one another, co-creating with the more that we are, co-creating with spirit, and co-creating for a better, ethical, nurturing world for all of humanity. And I guess in a way that's a vision, a dreaming a world of a world where children can just be who they are and grow into the beautiful beings and souls that they are. And then there's place for everyone. And there is possibility for different circumstances that we live in now. And while this modeling is in many ways linear, there is a rational one promise sitting above the other. And there is the first 3 that I do not relate to: truth, attentiveness, and the motion of love. The promises I elaborate more in the Promise We Made book. It's linear, but it can also be spiral, and it can also be individual. Each one of us needs to focus on a different promise. Many need to just return to being attentive, or be in a motion of noticing the soul moments, noticing those moments of alignment, of anchoring to who they are. And then by that, also noticing everything that is not, and starting to make those shifts from the bottom up. Some people need to first heal. Some people need to open to energetics and let it flow, and their soul inform them. There's so many processes that can take place, and that is one's choice of how they do that.
For parents that are new on their own spiritual journey and soul healing, what would be a place for them to start, especially if they want to start integrating the knowledge and wisdom that you share within UniverSoul Promises that they can start really actively using in their family?
So, read UniverSoul Promises. That's a great place to start. Explore what's spiritual, and then I would suggest parents to explore what spiritual tools, often very basic ones like grounding, like a light wash, like sensing our energy, just opening up that we have an energy around us. All these very simple little exercises are very, very helpful because it's a language and experiences that our children have. And as soon as we parents open up to them, it opens a shared conversation. And then the kids will be the ones who guide and share more exercises and share what they need. And it's always more family aligned when it comes this way. On my website, there are a lot of free resources about grounding, about various tools parents can bring into their families, including coloring sheets. Because coloring sheets are really important, because we often, as we start, we don't have the language and we're not sure how to share something, and we show an image, and the kids know because they experience it. It gives it a validity that they can explore it. And on my website, again, there are also advanced, more signature courses, including a course on the promise we made, UniverSoul Promises, that takes parents from one promise to the other, unweaving what stands in the way of fulfilling that promise, and nurturing their ability to walk that truth in their lives. So these are resources that I offer to make it applied. After the promise we made was published, readers approached me and asked, so what do I do next? So this is my offer as for next. But if somebody doesn't want that, there's so many beautiful books. Read books. Don't so much listen to audio when it's about spiritual books. I think it's more about reading the books and taking the wisdom in, and self-referencing, a lot of self-referencing what's aligned for you. And there are more and more resources on how to share with children, how to share mindfulness, how to share meditation. And I guess one more perspective that is important here: you can't teach kids all those practices if you don't practice them yourself. So example is key. A child learns to meditate because they see their mom or dad or grandparents sit down and meditate, with a simple explanation that it helps me center. It helps me clear my mind. It makes me happier, whatever is true to that individual. They become mindful if they see us practicing mindfulness. They become kind when we are kind to others. They trust their intuition when they see us trust our intuition and share it with them. This is also an important piece. You can't just trust your intuition and not explain to your family members what is going on, why you made a weird decision, unexpected one. You need to say it out loud. My intuition says we should leave only in 15 minutes and not now. My intuition says we need to go tomorrow, and I'm trusting it. And then the kid trusts their intuition. But you also need to trust them, because if they say, I'm sick today, I can't go to school, there is a reason. So is it their intuition? Is it their avoidance? That's, again, for a family to figure out what's going on and what is their type of communication. But setting an example, you can't raise spiritually aware children without that example. And that example is often their invitation to us, because they come knowing, they come remembering, they come with the tools, they travel and journey to other dimensions in a very innate, natural way. And it's for us to evoke and open up a conversation about it so that they share with us. And it's up to us to embrace the invitation to learn what journeying is and how to journey. Maybe I will share an example.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah. I recently worked with a family, 4 kids, 2 of them not experiencing any challenges, but 2 of them were really anxious and fearful, but there was no conversation going on or what's going on. And the parents approached me because they were really, really, they didn't know what to do. And you approach shamanic healing usually when after you tried a lot of other modalities. And as I tracked and we worked together, it was very clear that they're sitting on land that was not clean. Their house was on a land that was not clean. And for various reasons, I'm trying to be careful with the details I share. And all we had to do was clean the environment. So in remote healing, I did the work to clear everything. And we also clear their field. Maybe I will explain. Our energy field, if we our energy field needs to be ours. And there is a very simple message we can tell ourselves: my body is mine. And this is a teaching that we teach children in terms of their physical body, but it's also very meaningful energetically. Energies, there are always energies around, and there are not, most of them are not negative energies or bad energies, but they're not ours. If we have an energy attached to us that is not ours, we want it to go away. So, because it's a disturbance, it's noise. And so many kids today, the world is so noisy and so crowded that their field is more about other energies than their own. And when your field is about other energies and not your own, you have no idea what you want. You don't have clarity. You're confused. It will show in behavior. It will show in various challenges. And we can talk about a lot of examples, but we want our field to be ours. So those two kids in the family, they were so sensitive that it wasn't just that the environment in the house was crowded with other beings. It was also their energy field. So our first step was to clear the environment. And amazing family, they got it, and they raised the frequency. And the other two kids also took responsibility, and they started spreading around crystals and smudging and playing around with it. It all became it's really amazing family. It all became a lot of fun. They took responsibility over their environment, over the land. They started to bless the land and to work with the land. And that's often a key, even if you live in a building, to just bless the land, to bring healing, to see, even imagine a light flowing into the earth. Imagination, as you perfectly know, is so much more than just something we make up. It's our doorway to other dimensions. So that family took responsibility. We cleared the environment. They blessed the land, and they started to heal it and create a relationship with it. They had a small garden. They started planting, and everything shifted. We also cleared the energy field of those two children, and that took a few more sessions of creating boundaries for them, helping them resolve those magnets, that sensitivities that allowed those energy in. But everything shifted. But those parents, they didn't have the language at the beginning. It was about embracing an opportunity and listening to the invitation that came from the kids to cleanse, to respect the land, to balance their lives. It included further changes of lifestyle that they initiated. It was nothing about my work. I helped clear things and do the initial, give them the initial start so that they can embrace who they are. So, not sure where this was leading me and why this example came about, but I guess it had to come down. There are a lot of things we can do as soon as we open our eyes, that there is energy around us, that things do need to shift, and as parents to take responsibility. I meet amazing parents who are willing to do everything for their kids, who are willing to go through tough healing processes themselves so that they heal what their family lines bring in, so that they heal the soul wounding and their human lives, this lifetime wounding, so their kids can be free to explore their own journey and not carry that burden of others. And so many of us still do. And we are shifting in time, and we are shifting into new paradigms, and we are letting go of a lot of this karma, leaving it back, and it's not going to come back with us as we travel through future lifetimes. And that healing is needed, and many kids offer us that invitation.
Well, I'd like to dovetail with that really quickly, because you're so right. There are so many adults walking around with the wounds and baggage and hurts that their parents unknowingly raised them with. So can this book be used for adults that didn't have spiritually aware parents and want to maybe parent their inner child?
Yes, in many ways, I think it can, because it can, although it does talk to parents and children, it can reflect where are those pieces in this roadmap of becoming a co-creator as a human? Where is a healing that you need? And there are many, many references to healing practices, to journaling invitations, to affirmations that can be tweaked a little bit from parenting to just for our own. So yes, definitely.
So, what is an example of a dramatic change that you've seen a family go through?
Wow, so many. One thing I see happening often is something that I think many of the spiritual realm, definitely shamanic communities, take for granted, that anchoring to Mother Earth, that cultivation of a relationship with Mother Earth, something deeply shifts when we understand we are her children, as well as all other uh, one-legged trees or four-legged dogs. Um, we start treating each other as humans differently. We start treating the plants differently, the stones differently, the earth, the soil. We try the water. Everything is being treated differently. And as we cultivate that respect for her, we cultivate that respect for ourselves. And children come with this wisdom. Children come with this wisdom of the earth. Um, and I think I have a number of family images of families coming up in mind of families that this was their key because it reminded the parents of how connected they are to Earth. When we are connected to Earth, we feel safe. We know there's someone caring for us. When we are connected to Earth, we find joy again. And people know that when they go out to nature, they find joy. It's a common understanding in the spiritual circles among your audience, I expect. But many people do not go out to nature or nor bring nature home through plants. So it's a very simple thing that everyone can do that creates a huge shift for families raising spiritually or children that have to go through this anchoring to earth. It's really critical for them to embody their physical. It's not easy to come into a limited, dense physical body. And through anchoring to earth and to its frequency, it makes it so much easier. So that is one type of shift I've seen a lot go through UniverSoul Promises. And another shift I will share comes from the last promise, the co-creation. That realization that we want to raise co-creators. We want to raise not just co-creators, we want to raise ethical, good, loving, compassionate, kind co-creators that will be the leaders of tomorrow. And when we have that vision of where we're going, it's no longer about raising children that will have a profession and that will be able to survive by earning enough money or be successful according to American standards or Western standards. It's about raising a kind, compassionate human being able to co-create with others and with spirit and with earth. That's a completely different vision. Now, again, I'm focusing on something which is a mindset just from people who read the book and reflected, okay, now I get it. Now I know where I'm going. As parents, there's so many stages and so many systems around us, from the medical system and the educational system, that prescribes what one can do or one should do, and what's right and what's wrong, and who's good and who's bad. And according to old limiting beliefs, old ways of thinking, which were great once, but are not aligned to where humanity is going now. And that understanding and reflection really helps parents to know where they're going. What is the journey they wish to take their kid on? As soon as that understanding comes into their heart, I would say, then they set on that journey. themselves. And maybe, again, that's why I'm saying it's a linear model, and it's also each family needs to start where it needs. Many families have to go to the healing piece. And before even trying to change things for their children, really heal deep wounding. Most of the wounding we experience in this lifetime is a repetition of something that happened before. There is always a need for soul deep healing. And we're really lucky to live in a time where there's so many modalities that you can choose from. But you need to be responsible and heal. And don't expect someone to heal your child for you, because we often can't help children, or it won't even be ethical to work with a child and help them if the parents are not taking responsibility. So healing is also a piece that brought many to sessions, to just sessions that I did, or if I had someone that knew how to work with families where they lived, and I referred them, I refer a lot of people to people that I trust, and then they could heal as a family, first with themselves, those deep wounding they carry, often woundings we're not even aware of, but as our children come to us, they push those buttons. And children are really persistent. If you don't heal something they need you to heal, they will exaggerate. The problem will become bigger and huger and take your attention until you take responsibility and do what you need. So that is also a piece that I've seen really transformative for many families, that, okay, that's where I need to start. And I'm going now and doing what I need to do to heal myself, to heal my family, and ripple it forward, backwards, to the sides, to whoever needs that healing. Because as I said earlier, any piece of healing that each one of us takes is always beyond us. We're healing collectively, and healing ripples.
What a wonderful world it would be to have people come from a healed place, and especially what a gift parents can give their children by being the role model of healing and then mirroring that to their children so they walk a path unlike what we walked. Because I look at just in my personal journey, a lot of times there's unintentional wounds that happen from our caregivers. So we look at that and go, okay, I think most people walk around with that, and to heal that and then mirror that to the children and teach them. I mean, what a wonderful world that would be.
How to that, definitely. That would be a very different world. And I have a vision and trust and a knowing that we can, as humanity, walk there. But we need to choose. We need to become choice makers. We need to take responsibility. And that responsibility, each one of us can take wherever we are, again, regardless of circumstances. The possibility to heal ourselves is always there, always, always there.
In your book, you mentioned the motion of love. Can you explain that for us?
Yes. The motion of love is the third promise I elaborated on in the Promise We Made book, and I refer to shortly also in UniverSoul Promises, so readers would have the whole roadmap and an image of what it is. It surprised me at first when that promise came, because it's so simple. It's about taking responsibility. It's about being in motion to change. And what I noticed was that as adults, parents, in my context, even in their intention, not even in any action, start focusing on what they need to do. If it's an intention to heal something, if it's an intention to be more attentive, if it's an embrace of the understanding that they want their kids to stay aligned to who they are, that communicates energetically to the kids, stay aligned. So any such communication, children, they don't just watch our behavior and our example, they read our energy. If we are confused, then we might say something, but they get the confused message. If we are not aligned to who we are, they sense it. They're trying to figure out what it means to be a human. And as we even start, our starting point is not like when we were children. We too, as children, had that opportunity to stay aligned to who we are. But circumstances were different. Awareness was different. Tools were not as available. When we try as spiritually aware parents to direct our kids, and that's true to anyone, direct our kids to stay true to their truths, to stay attentive to what they know is right for them at a very young age, often as babies. If our communication is aligned, they will get it. If it's not aligned, they will get it as well. But even that intention is already the information that they need to confirm they can stay who they are while we are working on our stuff. And I like, I use the term soul moments as those moments when we know we're aligned. The phone beeped with a message. We can look at it or we can ignore it. Sometimes looking at it would be the aligned decision because something important is going on with our loved ones. And sometimes, very often, that message can wait a few hours. And if we are with our kid now, or washing the dishes, or cooking dinner, we're not supposed to be distracted. And the aligned decision will be to ignore it. As soon as we start noticing those soul moments, those aligned moments, we also start noticing those unaligned moments. And when we notice an unaligned moment, we know what we need to change. Our kids are looking for those aligned moments. That's the confirmation they need to stay true to who they are energetically, and the energetic confirmation, energetic communication. But also when we just take the first steps of understanding there is a gap between us and our children, and that gap needs to be bridged not by pulling them down and adjusting them to us, but by us elevating our frequency, who we are, the degree or the extent to which we walk our essence, and we walk towards them, they get that communication. So it's a very foundational foundation for the soul promises of taking that step of taking responsibility, noticing what's aligned, being grateful for those aligned moments, noticing what's not aligned, and starting to make those very little changes, often lifestyle changes that makes a change from the bottom up by changing how we behave, how we react. And every such change is also an energetic communication because we want our kids to stay true to who they are. I don't think any parent or any adult wants any child to go through that process of closing down and the social wounding and being affected by the social noise and then having to heal it. We want to give them the opportunity to stay aligned without all that noise. And so every soul, a lot of lessons can be learned. And when we have something difficult happen to us, we try to embrace and make the most out of it. But so many lessons don't need the drama, don't need the heartache, don't need the wounding. They can just happen naturally if we allow it. And by healing ourselves, by taking responsibility, by setting into the motion of love, we can take that responsibility and open the door for our children.
Efrat, you're such a just inspiration. I've always loved your books, and I just adore the work that you do. Where can our listeners connect with you and be part of your community and learn more about your work?
First, thank you for this conversation. I love talking to you and I love your questions. Listeners can find me on my website, efratshokef.com, EFRATSHOKEF.com. And everything is there. Information about my books. My books are on most online bookstores, and you can order it to your local bookstore and support local bookstores by that. You can find links to my courses, a lot of free resources for parents, articles. That's the hub where everything is.
Well, Efrat, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you, Mariana.
Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.